You're listening to the ASOTU CON Sessions by Effectv, recorded live in Philly. All right, this is Kyle Mountsier with actually my first ASOTU CON session. So you guys get to hang out with me. I've got Anthony and Brendan from Effectv, a Comcast company. Guys, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Hey, so here's my first question, is because I always have this question, and it's been a burning desire of mine, is Effectv. Do either of you know the root of why that, because I know that there's the TV in there, but is there a root as to why that's kind of been the brand move for the media side of Comcast at this point?
Yeah, I think where it stems from, obviously you mentioned the TV piece, but it's also about TV that works, video that works. And it wasn't enough to just provide a video for a dealer or a customer that directed their brand message. It had to be what was the effect that video had on the consumer it reached. Did that consumer take an action afterwards? So we had to become really transparent around not just delivering video, but making sure it had an impact.
That's awesome. So you are an Effectv media company, which is great. That's really smart.
Even within the logo itself too, it's a half frame. And the reason for that being, we see ourselves as true partners with clients. So we bring kind of half the frame, and then our clients bring the other half to.
I love the thoughtfulness, and I love that. Like I know that you all have a role where you manage people and are supposed to know that, but that kind of is disseminated into the organization is really cool. So I'd like to hear a little bit, Brendan, a little bit from you, like within especially the automotive ecosystem right now, where do you see media playing maybe a new role in the way that we're communicating with customers, and even within the automotive industry? Where are you seeing media take a larger role and impact, even in some of the moves away from some of like linear TV and things like that? What's the new role that media is playing?
Yeah, I think it's still at the root is still telling a story. Right, but the way that we do that, the strategic nature, the various tactics, audiences that we can target, and then the measurement on the backside really comes full circle and has evolved TV into a multi-screen solution that we have true insights and actionable insights that we can continue to evolve and enhance our solutions and strategies with. So I think from our perspective, you look at how much the auto and media industries have evolved over the past 5 years, 2 years even, right? Even with COVID.
Without a doubt.
And you can continue to innovate, and if you don't, then you get left in the dark. Well, one of the ways you do that is by developing new solutions, but it's also through partnerships, right? And we see partnerships as a way to accelerate innovation, whether it be with other industry vendors, those that have complementary solutions to us and add incremental value to what we bring, but also on the client side, those clients that are willing to engage with us, walk alongside us, and test new solutions and strategies and provide honest feedback that helps us guide that innovation agenda and take us into the future.
One of the things that we've been talking about a lot in the ASOTU world, and even in our conversations with the team at Effectv, is just that innovation right now is less segmented than ever, right? Where typically what you looked at is like an innovator or someone new putting out a product was like they were living in a silo and they were doing it all alone, and they were kind of like, we did a thing, everyone want to use it, or everyone use our thing. And what we're seeing in our industry and a lot of industries, actually, I think Nike was the first one to do it, like Nike by X, right? Whatever that thing was. And I think we're seeing that take place in a lot of different ecosystems. So, for a media partner like yourselves that has so much access to data, especially because of the number of users that touch your ecosystem every single day, what are you doing to innovate and move faster for dealers and your media partners that allow some of that data to cross-pollinate the ecosystems that are around you?
Yeah, I think it starts with unlocking it. And that was the first piece, is how do we get this data back to our clients so they can use it in an effective way? Back to your original question.
I got him.
You got me, set me up. But that's what it was. Let's take this data, let's use it in a very privacy compliant way, and let's get these insights to advertisers so that they can make smarter decisions and be more efficient. One of the things we dealt with through COVID and other things was driving efficiency, and now we can get more direct audiences both on linear and OTT and merge those together and deliver that in an effective manner, and we feel we can do that at a pretty wide scale that a lot of our competition doesn't. So it's a matter of unlocking that data, and we're just starting with that and then bringing that to market so that dealers can be far more efficient with it.
I think that, I see Effectv in any media partner as a data-driven industry, but a lot of people, when they think about TV or video, they struggle to see the data side of it. And so explain a little bit, you said we have all this rich data. Maybe explain a little bit, Brendan, what is that data? Where are you finding that? And how deep does it go into understanding the types of audiences or the type of communication that we can have on a closer to one-to-one basis with a given customer?
Yeah, so we have our own Comcast viewership data, which is a very large set within the set-top boxes that we capture, and that really allows us to take other audiences, whether it be in market from audiences from Polk or Experian or a dealer's own first-party data, match them up against our Comcast households, the viewership data, aggregated viewership data, to then understand how those audiences are consuming content. And then from there, what networks are they watching, what time of day are they watching it, what devices are they watching it on, and that all helps to inform the strategies that then our reps go out and speak with dealers about, or ownership groups about, to help craft that strategy for the dealer.
What amount of, because you said the dealers can bring their first-party data, which is the data that's housed in their ecosystem, their DMS or CRM, that they can bring that to you. What percentage, or I don't know if you can speak to this, what percentage of those are getting matched to households or individuals within the Comcast ecosystem at this point?
Yeah, so it's a good question, and this is we're still early on in this phase of actually taking a dealer's first-party data, their audiences, matching it up against our Comcast households, and then being able to gather those insights. But through that, we do it in a very privacy-compliant way, as Anthony mentioned, through an identity operating system. But it depends on how clean the data is within the dealership CRM, right? So if it's already refined and cleaned down to a Comcast footprint, then it's a much higher rate than if they're just saying, okay, here,
here's
everyone's
right,
data,
yeah,
and sends it over to us.
Gotcha.
The other benefit of it is, and I'm kind of channeling Dan Moore from earlier, we're not just looking at the customers that dealer already has. We can look at the attributes of the people that tend to buy from that dealer and then make some assumptions about what tendencies they have.
Yeah.
And now we can understand, okay, the people that buy from you tend to do these things. Now let's go build that lookalike and let's go talk to them too. So now your campaign's getting much more strategic because you're focused on the people you already have, and now maybe the people you don't. And how do I get those and bring those people in, and then get down to that people and process part where you can start to
So would you, like in that, a lot of people know about Facebook and audiences. Is that kind of like your version of lookalike audience?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
I think, one of the things here at ASOTU CON and doing ASOTU CON Sessions by Effectv, actually, and one, thank you for partnering with us, because it's by what you guys have done and what your company has done to support and say, hey, look, we're going to partner up. So I just want to mention that and thank you for that. It's a big deal. But when you think about the industry as a whole and kind of the trends that we're going through, especially some of the macro trends, I always try and tie like macro trends to micro moments. And so when Effectv is thinking about some of these macro trends that are challenging dealers, how is, even things like the FTC and direct to consumer and, market shifts because of new entrants into their spaces, how is Effectv being a partner to the dealer in a way that allows them to meet the customer or meet these demands head on and utilize the platform and the system to make sure that we're delivering around these macro trends?
Yeah, so you mentioned it, right? The industry is so fragmented One of the things that we feel like we've done a good job of is stitching it all together in a meaningful way. And by doing so, understanding what a dealership's goals are, what their strategy is, trying to get them to think a little bit more from a consultative standpoint outside of just price payment and really about the lifetime value of the customer. And then with that, working with them on creative and making sure that we're deploying a really strategic strategy that enables us to meet their customers or the potential customers where they are, regardless of what platform or device or when they're watching.
Nice. Awesome.
I think the other piece too is a lot of times a commercial is the first introduction to a dealer for a consumer, right? It's the first impression. So we're allowing them to tell their story. And I think it's more important than ever that they tell a really good story because of all these other factors weighing against them. They do so much in the community. They do so much for their people. They provide so much resource to the areas around them that we can help begin to tell that story far beyond price point. That they also support the YMCA, or that they give back in so many other ways. So I think it's allowing them to go tell a story and to think differently about how they communicate their brand to the community.
That's awesome. So Anthony, this is the non-effective portion of this. You're from Philly, right?
Yes.
All right. Are you from Philly, Brendan?
I'm not.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Vermont. I live in Connecticut now.
There's nothing special about Connecticut, from what I understand. I have zero questions of which to ask you about the culture or relationship with Connecticut.
Fair enough.
Maybe I'll ask. But all right, so talk to me. I gotta know the best Philly cheesesteak in Philly. Where do people need to go if they're in Philly?
Delisandro's.
Delisandro's. Where's Delisandro's? Is it a single or is they franchise it or what do you got?
It's a single. It's in. I guess technically it's Roxborough. Would be the town, but it's in Philly. It's on the outskirts of Philly. But for me, it is the best.
Why is it
hands
because
down.
of the bread? Is it because of the steak? Is it because of the way they do the cheese? Is it
so
just the whole
it's
thing?
everything because it has to be the complete package in Philly to even be in the conversation. So it's the bread, but it's a chopped steak, and I'm a chopped steak guy.
I once saw someone eating a Philly cheesesteak, and they were eating the steak out of the bread, and I was like, all the Philly people would be shaking the hands at him. He's like,
acceptable.
you gotta eat the bread, though. Right.
You do. It's part of the.
All right. So am I like outside of the Yukon Huskies? What does Connecticut offer the United States from a culture perspective?
I've only been there a couple of years, but I'd say the lake that we live near is paradise. I mean, it's a very boatable lake. It's great to get out on, family friendly. The rest of what does it offer the rest of the world? Then not a lot. I'll be very honest.
Live there and go to the lake.
I'll be honest.
So another just personal question: what's like when because you all both work with dealers a lot, and you're in, especially you, Anthony. What's your encouragement right now outside of get your head out of the game of like where you're selling, and what's your encouragement to them right now as you're interacting with them, as you're hearing friends and family members buy cars and the conversations? What's your encouragement to dealers right now?
I think it's their resiliency, and it's been said a lot, but they've fought through all these things, and there's more coming at them, but they're constantly looking for ways to evolve, and they want to get to this place where they can deliver a car very seamlessly and have an instant sale, so to speak. So I think they have all this desire to get there, and then it's up to us around them to give them more tools to do that. But that's what I see. That's what I'm hearing today. I'm so inspired by everybody talking about how they're so eager to get there and all the ways they want to get there. It's not just process, it's people, it's all these things. So I think that's what gives me some hope, and the more dealers that show up to things like this and convey that message, the next dealer is going to go, I need to lean in a little more. I need to do things a little bit differently, and that will be contagious.
Awesome. And what's your encouragement to the broader industry, to dealers right now?
To the dealers, but also the vendors, I think we need to think differently. We need to figure out how we can work together to accelerate innovation. And I think it's about removing those barriers. We've heard silos a lot, right, over the past 24 hours. And how do we remove those so that we can truly put our assets together in the benefit of the dealer to help them accelerate their businesses?
I love it. Well, Anthony, Brendan, thank you so much for spending a few minutes here at the ASOTU CON Sessions by Effectv. On behalf of myself, Kyle, and all of our other moderators, it's just been a pleasure to hang out with you today.
Same to you, Kyle. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah.